What is up, guys? Ram101 here, and welcome to Dueling Network number 37, I want to say. Last episode we covered Burning Knucklers, which is 36, so yeah, we're on 37. And today I'm not really covering a deck recipe to say, but I am going to be talking about some new cards that have recently come out. They've been around for a while now. And that is the Suppressor Dragon archetype. Now, the reason I'm just talking about it today and not covering it is because it's one of those decks that I'm finding hard to get used to, finding it hard to learn, and I can't think of there was definitely another one, but I can't think of it off the top of my head, a deck that really confused me, because a lot of decks, they come out, I pick up, and I learn them really quickly. For example, some of the more recent ones, Fire Fist, learn that extremely quickly. Phantom Beastcraft, learn that very quickly. The new gimmick puppets that came out, learn them very quickly. Chrono Monolith, that was a very simple one for me, and I learned that quickly. The Hive Avatar Kings, learn those quickly. Mermills and stuff like that, learn those quickly. You get the idea. But as an archetype as a whole, I just find it quite difficult to get used to and how to play this deck right, because it is really confusing. I think the last one that really confused me that I didn't take time to learn, which I probably should have done, was the Mech Lords. Mech Lords was another deck recipe that really confused me, and I just couldn't get to grasp on, couldn't understand it very well, and that I still don't know it to this day. It was a hard one to get used to, but I am learning this deck and getting more used to it as the days go by. I am learning new things, how this deck works, throwing some new cards into the mix and whatnot, and I am getting used to it. As for for example, the Burning Knucklers that just came out, I predicted that with a little bit more support, and because I got a feeling that they're going to get more support when new packs, new sets of cards come out. They'll add more Burning Knucklers to that, more traps and spell support, and just combined with things like dark bribes and stuff to really get rid of banishing cards like Dimension Fissure, Macrocosmos, stuff like that. They could really become a tier 1 deck, because they do rely heavily on the graveyard. Obviously there are cards that get around that attack the graveyard, that attack cards that attack the graveyard, like MST, Heavy Storm, stuff like that. So I could really see Burning Knucklers becoming a very high tier deck. But as for the Suppressor Dragon build, the pure build, all 4 Suppressor Dragons with some other things thrown in, I can't really see this becoming a very high tier deck, just because if you don't draw the right cards, it can become very inconsistent. I mean, I got 2 duels playing here in the background. The first one is a more consistent build, a more consistent duel, where I do draw into a lot of the cards I need. And then the second one is more of an inconsistent duel, where I don't draw into the cards I need. So I don't really see this deck becoming a very, very high tier deck. I can see it just being a deck that people try out, a fun deck, an interesting deck, but like I said, pure build, I don't see it going very high tier. But I do see some of the cards breaking out from the main Suppressor Dragon build and becoming there, and going into other decks and becoming powerful there. For example, is it Tidal Wave Dragon or Waterfall Dragon, something like that. I can see it working very well in things like Mermills and Abyss, as it can send cards to the graveyard. Plus, if you send it to the graveyard, you can use his effect from there. So it is definitely definitely could be useful in that sort of deck. Also, the Fire one could be useful in other decks. I don't know, you can maybe find a place for it in Fire Fist, maybe in other fire archetypes, because they've been the high avatars. A lot of fire sports come out recently and fire cards, so could be useful in there. As for the wind and the earth one, maybe the wind one could be useful in harpies, maybe, because they're getting quite a lot of support now. Earth one, I don't see that getting much support. really, because there are not really a lot of heavy earth decks that have dragons in them as well. So not sure. We'll have to wait and find out. I'm not, like I said, not sure if these will become their main, a very good archetype on their own, but the single cards I could see becoming useful in other decks. The Treasured Sword card is also really good. I can also see that becoming useful in other decks as well. Banish a level 7 or higher monster, draw 2 cards. There are lots of decks that run level 7 monsters, I believe. But there are lots of level 7 monsters that can benefit from that card. So it was mainly made for the Suppressor deck, but it can be used elsewhere. But anyway guys, those are just my initial thoughts on the Suppressor Dragon build. If you have your own thoughts on them, remember to leave them in the comment section down below. What do you think of the deck? Do you think it's a very good deck? Do you think it could be a possible high tier, low tier? Your thoughts in the comments are always appreciated. Also, if you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like rating and subscribe for more videos. I will be coming out with a deck recipe in the future when I really do learn this deck properly, so stay tuned for that. Again guys, this is Padawan, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.